I originally wanted to get to level 10 before doing the next license, but the first flight missions are really repetitive and tedious. You just take off, go around a small town and arrive back. So I'm going to start them now and do them earlier. For some reason it's telling me that I've done the first one already, so I assume that's because I did it in the activities menu. You can do some of the lessons, so maybe that's carried over, but we'll skip that one. We'll move on to the next ones. So we've skipped trim management, which is basically just a dial. So on the controller you can hold RB and use the right thumbstick to move the dial up or down, and what it'll do is set like a trajectory, so you can
Today
use
we are
it to
going to
maintain
leave our
altitude.
familiar airport of Sedona and venture south to reach Flagstaff Airport.
Are we familiar?
To guide us, we will rely on the navlog.
Oh.
It references the different legs to complete to reach our final destination. Our first goal is to fly over the runway center at 6,500 feet with a heading of 42 degrees. By doing so, we will be perfectly set up to engage with the first leg of the navlog. After takeoff, we will continue crosswind as if we were following the standard traffic pattern. However, we won't turn downwind. Instead, we will continue climbing to 6,500 feet before turning on course toward the runway center. Okay, you can take off whenever you are ready.
So it's another pretty straightforward one. Take off, follow the flight path, and then land. You can see on the tablet on the right, we have like a breakdown of the journey. So you can see Sedona, Flagstaff, things like that. It'll tell us the degree, the angle at which we need to face. So you can see the degrees in the top left above the dial. It'll tell us the distance and the estimated time that it'll take to get from one point to the next. We'll take a B. We'll take a B. So I think that little ornament looking thing at the front, that little thing there, I think that had numbers on it, and we were between 3 and 6, but closer to 3. So maybe that's degrees, 30, 60, maybe we're around 42.
We're currently at 6,500 feet, about 30 seconds flight time to Sedona Airport. As we make our way toward the runway center, let's talk more about navigation. When you need to set and maintain a heading, you'll want to rely on your heading indicator. Compasses are prone to errors, especially during turns or while accelerating or decelerating. Okay, we're in position over the runway center. Next step is to validate the time. That's a fancy way of saying start your stopwatch. On the navlog, you can see our next waypoint, Munns Park, is at a 42-degree heading about 5 minutes away. That means we need to be on a 42-degree heading. Check your heading indicator and make your turn.
It did take a minute to figure out where the indicator was.
Navigation is basically flying a given heading for a given amount of time. Sometimes you deviate. But if you track the time flown from your last known position, you'll always have at least a range for your current position. Do you see the green patch with a lake on its right? This is Munns Park Golf Club. We're almost there. Let's proceed over it and check if the stopwatch matches the navlog estimation. We all know speed can increase or decrease depending on the wind. That's why at your next waypoint you'll want to compare your estimated time and route with the actual time flown. Validate your estimate and your progress. Okay, now get back to cruise attitude. Let the speed increase, then set cruise power at 2,300 revolutions per minute.
So we've managed another B, and then we move on to landmark navigation.
Alright, we're currently at 8,000 feet, approximately 30 seconds out from Munns Park Golf Club. While we fly over it, let's talk about landmark navigation. One of the easier methods of navigation involves following identifiable landmarks, like highways. And it just so happens we have one below us. Do you see the highway on your left? That highway leads all the way to Flagstaff. Let's follow it, and we should reach Flagstaff Airport in 6 to 7 minutes. Correct your heading to the right.
So this one kept confusing me because she kept saying set your heading to the right, or correct your heading to the right. But I actually had to turn left, and it says in the top right as well in the mission steps.
To make sure we don't miss it, reset your stopwatch here and start it again.
It's really annoying. I couldn't work out how to move that tablet on the right. It's blocking like the mission steps and part of the equipment, and I wanted to move it over to the left.
Flagstaff Airport's altitude is around 7,000 feet. Unlike in Sedona, the traffic pattern altitude there is standard. This means its altitude is 1,000 feet above the airport, which works out to 8,000 feet. We need to fly over the airport before entering the traffic pattern. Since we don't want to interfere with other aircraft already in the traffic pattern, let's fly at least 500 feet above pattern altitude. So, let's climb to 8,500 feet on the way. Keep it at full power while you're climbing. Perfect. Maintain 8,500 feet until we reach the airport. Set RPM at 2,300. Correct your heading to the right.
Figured out how to move the mission steps at least.
Correct your heading to the right. Correct your heading to the right. We've been off course for too long. Correct your heading to the right. Let's start again.
So I think I ended up too far off course while I was fiddling with the mission steps and stuff, so it's made me basically start the whole section of the training again. Yeah, we'll take another B.
Flagstaff Airport is right in front of us, and we're currently at 8,500 feet. That's 500 feet above the standard traffic pattern. It's a good altitude to avoid interfering with aircraft already in the pattern. Proceed above the terrain, making sure you maintain our current altitude. We're going to land on runway 21, coming from the right to the left. We'll be following a left-hand traffic pattern, as we did in Sedona. Ready? Reduce speed to 80 knots and start a turn to the left toward a 120-degree heading. As we pass over the runway again, start descending to 8,000 feet, still maintaining 80 knots. You'll enter the pattern in the middle of the downwind leg for runway 21. We've got clearance to enter the downwind leg and land on runway 21. Keep your attitude, then follow the standard pattern. Extend 10 degrees of flaps. Complete the traffic pattern until landing, as you learned previously. Good integration, but something tells me you can do
Probably
even
one of the
better.
best landings we've had. Yet another B. And I've only got one left to do now.
Are you ready for this? You are going solo on a full VFR flight. From takeoff to touchdown, it's all you. You'll be departing Flagstaff Pulliam Airport, handling every navigational step on your way to Sedona. It's the return trip from your previous lessons. You will be flying over the same landmarks. You remember them? The Highway, Munns Park Golf Club. Choose whatever you're confident with. Dead reckoning, landmark navigation, or both. This is what you've trained for. Just remember everything you've learned, and most of all, enjoy the ride.
Finally figured out how to move everything. So it gives you the degree angle, it gives you a time, it doesn't give you a speed or a height. So what if I was higher or lower, or going faster or slower? That calculation would be off, wouldn't it? It's not letting me reduce the throttle. I don't want to gain too much speed, but I need to lose quite a bit of height. Coming in for the final landing. Landings are usually where I struggle. I always feel like they go quite well, but then it tells me that they're rubbish. I don't know if maybe I land too fast or whatever it is, but that's the way it goes.
$500.
Really made an effort on this one not to come in too steep and to try and, cruise in somewhat parallel to the ground. I still think the rating wasn't great at the end though. Okay, I don't think that was too bad.
Wow, great job. Some people say the sky's the limit. I say, it's just the beginning.
So as you can see, they still seem to have a problem with my landing. I have no idea why. If anyone could tell me why that landing is not a good landing, please do. But we got an A overall, which is great. So that's the end of all the training missions for that license. We won't do it now because this is already getting quite long, but next time we'll go through the actual license test, which hopefully should unlock us some new missions going forwards. We might be able to start getting paid for them as well.